investigator-initiated trials, unlike sponsored investigational medicinal clinical trials, are not meant for regulatory review or approval, and hence what that means is often the end product is a publication and not a regulatory submission. What that means is patients are getting if there is any drug involved that's already an approved drug or a safe drug that they're already taking or meant to be used to assess how it compares with the standard of care or comparing two different treatment options, leading to insights on how to improve the standard of care among the available treatment options for patients. So in that sense, they are super important. They advance the standard of care and help improve outcomes for patients, most importantly. And now in that context, because they are not sponsored, they tend to have smaller budgets and also tend to have difficulty in enrolling compared to a sponsored clinical trial, as because of lower budgets, the stipends or any potential payments to patients on a per visit basis might be quite limited. And also the benefit to the patients might be quite limited, as they tend to be more observational and eventually might improve the patient outcomes for future, but there may not be an immediate direct benefit to participants in investigator-initiated trials as a general rule, and there is always exceptions. All this makes investigator-initiated trials a lot more challenging from an execution point of view for principal investigators, usually at academic medical centers. And that's where technology plays a significant role because as you may know, Rob, it's been a very difficult environment with the staffing issues, with qualified staff not being available at most academic medical centers for research since the pandemic. And so that's making it really difficult to execute trials if we have to rely on the traditional brick and mortar human capital alone. That's where software, AI, technology comes into play, where we can automate a lot of the manual repetitive tasks. So you don't need as many trained, qualified staff members. You still need them. Obviously, it's a regulated space and you need good clinical practice and clinical researchers who are trained and certified. But with technology, you can execute them with smaller budgets if right unified platform technologies are made available to these investigators. They can still continue to pursue and so important part of the clinical research process to advance patient outcomes. That's a great question, because what's happening in the industry is there is a general feeling that decentralized clinical trials cost significantly more than the traditional clinical trials, and which is really unfortunate, because decentralized clinical trials are actually meant to decrease cost significantly if choosing the right platform and implementing it in the right way, right from the protocol design stage itself, not as an afterthought, adding a decentralized capability or tool as an afterthought, but if it's built into the design right from the get-go, they can be significantly cost effective. In fact, the platform that we designed brings together the electronic data capture capability along with remote patient engagement, omni-channel patient communications by SMS, email, audio, video. So it's meant to replace or decrease the number of travel and site visits that the patients have to make during the course of an investigator-initiated trial or even a sponsored clinical trial for that matter. And so if implemented in that way, what that does is three things. One is it significantly reduces the effort on the clinical research investigator teams itself in terms of minimizing the repetitive tasks and also scheduling appointments for in-person visits versus doing all these activities as much as possible through remote technologies. Two, 90% of the burden on patients is decreased. Now they can participate from the comfort of their home without having to take half a day or a day off to participate in an investigator-initiated trial, where the incentives might be less aligned to begin with in the first place. And so they are more likely to be willing to enroll if the burden is minimum, which it will be if these decentralized tools are implemented correctly. And lastly, it dramatically reduces cost and timelines for execution, because now you are enrolling patients faster, and the likelihood of patients dropping out is also significantly reduced with proper digital patient engagement between the investigator teams and the patients, with minimum burden. And overall experience of participating and conducting clinical studies will be significantly better. So that's basically, patient recruitment, patient engagement and retention, protocol complexity management, and any amendments that happen during the course of the study can all be done in one unified single login. Then that's significantly efficient and actually reduces cost and not increase cost, unless a direct patient home visiting nurse is involved, where like blood draws and sample collection is to be done by someone visiting the individual patient's homes, then the cost dramatically increases. If we can use technology to minimize the need for that, maybe one visit in the study, or a minimum number of visits, it's still super cost effective. Essentially, what we did at Jeeva is built a unified clinical trial execution system with from protocol to publication, with many parts of this process automated or semi-automated, and all in one login. So one of the challenges we heard was investigator teams have to use 10, 20 different tools to make one study successful. So we decrease the burden by giving them a single login from any device or browser on Android, iOS, or any web-based browsers, and to minimize the manual repetitive tasks so they can execute with very little burden. And 3, remote patient engagement by multiple channels of communication, like email, SMS, audio, video, and the optional patient engagement portal. So all this combined makes this platform a very attractive solution, along with the study support that comes with our scientific team that can help them write the protocol, even design the protocol, configure them in the data platform, and analyze the data with biostatistics, and prepare manuscripts for publication.